butter, 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 but tickle butter, butter, and butter.
Hey there, welcome back. So I ended up with 5 extra egg yolks because I was making my dad's birthday cake today, and I figured we might as well put them to use. I've had a couple of requests for butter ice cream lately. This is a flavor that I've made in the past, but I want to change it up a little bit, and I'm going to make it brown butter ice cream this time. So we want to use the highest quality butter that we can get our hands on. This is Kerrygold. So I'm going to do about 2/3 of the butter browned, and the other 2/3 not. I don't want the brown butter flavor to overwhelm everything, but I will tell you, and you better believe it, this is the richest ice cream you will ever eat. So we start with browning the butter just over medium heat. This is about a half of a stick of butter, and we will just sort of stir it around over medium heat until we get a nice deep amber color, continuing to scrape the bottom as we see the little bits coming up. Okay, so now we're at a point the butter's starting to brown. This takes a few minutes. Basically what we're doing here is we're cooking off some of the water and leaving behind the milk solids of the butter. And this adds a really deep, sort of nutty complexity, and my hope is that this translates well into the ice cream. Okay, so this has been going for about 3 minutes. The butter is taking on that nice amber color. The black bits are a little bit darker than I'm used to, but we'll go with it. So we're gonna go ahead and add in the other full stick worth of butter, as well as a generous cup of sugar and 2 cups of cream. Stir that really well to get that sugar dissolved. Okay, now we're just gonna cook this until it comes to a very light simmer, and then we'll incorporate the egg yolks. So now we take that off the heat completely, and we're going to integrate our egg yolks. Now we could just dump the egg yolks in here, but if we do that, we're going to end up with scrambled eggs in the middle of an ice cream. So what we do is let's give it a nice stir first, and we'll take a ladle of that liquid and we'll pour it into our egg yolks and mix them. And basically what this does is it helps the eggs to cook slower so that you get a more custardy consistency rather than scrambled eggs. So we'll do another ladle full here. And just whisk that together. Okay, now with the heat still off, let's take our ladle out, and we can go ahead and add those egg yolks back in. Heat back up to low, and whisk continuously until it just starts to thicken. Okay, that's been about a minute. Let's take a look at what we have here. So if we take our spatula and put it in and then run our finger across, you'll see that it leaves the mark there. That is called nappe. That means that our custard is cooked. So now what I want to do is add the remaining 1 cup of heavy cream. Just whisk that to combine. And then we'll put this in an airtight container and put it in the fridge overnight. Would be ideal, at least 2 to 4 hours. We really want this to be as cold as we can. As I mentioned previously, it helps keep the ice crystals low, or keeps them small, so that you don't get sort of hard frozen ice cream. You get more of the creamy. Like I said, strain this. And see, this here, This is the reason why we strain. We can just get any little burnt chunks that are a little too big for ice cream, as well as any cooked egg pieces. Before this goes in the fridge, there is actually one thing I forgot. That is the vanilla. How can you have ice cream without vanilla? So this should be a teaspoon total. I'll go ahead and put in probably about 3/4 there. So just give that a mix here. Okay, so next morning, machine is chilled. Let's pour this in. It is very, very thick, as you would expect with all the fat. Here's the big container. And the small one. Okay, and let's churn that. I'm thinking a half an hour. Okay, there's our half hour. I was actually pretty close. It looks like it's a nice soft serve consistency. We'll get it into our little 4-ounce containers here. I found that 4 ounces is actually a pretty good size for an individual serving, just as a snack. I know it's not quite a full scoop, but it seems to work. Anyway, put the lid on. These go in the freezer. We will let them freeze hard, and then we'll take a look and see how it turned out. It's about 4 hours later. Let's see how this turned out. Well, it definitely kept its shape. It seems to be frozen pretty well. Let's give this a taste. I apologize for using these bowls. I've got that and a lot of my silverware actually packed up right now. That's why I'm using the brown MRE spoon. But here's our butter. Here's our butter ice cream on the counter. Let's give it a taste. So like I said, it is probably the richest ice cream you will ever taste. The brown butter really rounds it out from the previous just plain butter recipe that I used. The brown butter does add a nice nutty complexity, and it's very creamy, as you would expect with all the fat. Nice and yellow color from all that butter. Good vanilla flavor, not overwhelming. So yeah, that's our butter ice cream. Like I said, probably the richest ice cream you will ever eat. I don't see how anyone could eat more than these 4 ounces without feeling really sick afterwards. Hope you give it a try. I hope you get into ice cream the way I have. I really just enjoy making it to give it away. I'm not a huge fan of sweets, but experimenting with ice cream has been a lot of fun. Anyway, have a great day. We'll see you next time. Bye!